All right, guys, we're back. Another great episode of OversteerTV Online, the podcast. I got my partner in crime over here, Jeff Brown. I'm Anthony Castanera. Trying to season 2, trying to have a little fun, talking about all kinds of crap. And fun week last week. Formula One started. That was a crazy race. A lot of weird stuff going on. The McLarens are dominant, but there's some funny stuff going on around back. I don't know what the heck was going on for a while there with the rain. And if you were a rookie, apparently it was the rules where you had to spin out early in the race.
You can't believe how many rookies they have. I mean, like every major team has an untested rookie. Just crazy. I don't understand it. Why would you? Why? I thought the rookies went through the lower teams first, to get experience. But there's just a lot of inexperience out there right now.
It used to be
on the major teams.
Yeah, but nowadays the big teams, they have their own little, they sign up these drivers when they're like 14 or 15, when they're still in karting, and they bring them up through the junior ladder series, Formula 4, Formula 2, Formula 3, Formula 2. And then when they think they're ready, they bring them right in. They're not going to hand them over to another team. It does sometimes. Like Haas, Bierman, I believe, is a Ferrari, is still like under contract with Ferrari. And so Ferrari stuck him in Haas. And Bierman, he did not have a good weekend.
Yeah, I think they signed these kids while they're still in the womb, while they're still in their mother's womb.
Yeah. Everybody's looking at what they did with Lewis Hamilton. Ron Dennis, when he was running McLaren, he met Lewis Hamilton when he was like 9 years old.
Yeah.
And liked that kid so much in karting that he started sponsoring him and bringing him up and everything, and signed on the McLaren and everything. And, so now the teams are like, it's like Major League Baseball now. They all go to the Dominican Republic and they sign these kids and they're 14 or 15 and stick them in their baseball schools. And it's cheap to sign them when they're that young. A few bucks each, go, train them, work with them. And a team, like the Yankees will sign maybe 200 kids in the Dominican Republic. If they get one, they're happy. That turns out to be a major leaguer. They're happy. It's cheaper that way.
Or they just use their farm team, the Yankees farm team, called the Miami Marlins.
Yeah. Send them to the Marlins, exactly. But yeah, Bierman had a terrible weekend. And free practice 1, he spun out like on the first lap or two. Didn't do in practice. Practice 2, couldn't even do that. And 3 had some other problems, couldn't even qualify. So he started in back. And what was really sad, his fastest lap was over 2 seconds slower than the next slowest fastest lap of anybody who didn't drive for Haas. Okay, Ocon, the other driver for Haas, was only 1 second slower than the fastest. I don't know what's going on in Haas. I know their car has some problems, but that was like sad.
Well, it's a combination of bad cars and bad drivers, bad management.
Oh, well, they were doing better. Like, they got rid of Gunther Steiner, which I thought was the smartest move Haas has done since they started that team. He got him a lot of publicity. Better than that, the team sucked.
But your boy Lando, and the one you love, he's going to win the championship this year.
Oh God, don't say that. He doesn't deserve it, but it's still early. Things happen.
He was pretty dominant in that race, that's for sure. He was pretty dominant.
Right now, the McLaren is the fastest car. That is without a doubt. But the season's long and teams play catch up, and it happens. Last year, look at the beginning of the season. Last year, Red Bull was the all dominant car. Right? And then other teams caught up, and then Verstappen couldn't buy a win for the life. He still had so many points. He still won the championship. At the end of the season, caught up, but the other teams started catching up. And look at this.
Yeah, McLaren caught him about halfway through the season.
Yeah. Look at this season. Right, Williams already has more points than Ferrari. Granted, it's one race, but Williams is a fast car out there. Um, the Mercedes looks like it's quick. Also, was it Hulkenberg started? Was it for that? What's it called now? Stake. It's going to be Audi next year. They used to Mayo, then now it's Stake, whatever it is, and everything. And Hulkenberg already got more points in one race than that team got all of last season. So,
good job.
You know, it's gonna.
I loved it because it was raining and then it stopped raining. They would put the slick tires on and it would start raining again. And I love that.
Yeah. And Ferrari blew it. They were out there with the slick tires and they were leading the race when everybody came in to put on the intermediates, and they were out there. And then Ferrari says, "Well, let's put on the intermediates too." And what happens? It stops raining.
I love that. I love that.
So Hamilton's like, "Welcome to Ferrari. We make decisions when we stick to them. They may suck."
Oh man, that was good.
Oh, that was too funny. The whole weekend was hilarious over there.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. I love it when it rains in the Formula One race, and I love it when it rains and stops and starts and stops and starts and forces them to make multiple pit stops, which I like. And in fact, I was thinking about this. You know, they show up with three different tires: the soft, the medium, and the hard. Right. But they're only required to run two. I say let's change the regulation, make them run all three of those tires. You know, they would probably save those soft tires, you know, for a last pit stop with 15 to go, something like that. That would make it exciting. Make them run three.
You might get your wish because in Formula One, it's always you have to have one pit stop. You got to run two tires in the race. But for Monaco, they changed the rules. You have to make two pit stops now in Monaco. That's
okay
now. So let's see how that works out. That should be fun because in Monaco, anything can happen. Especially you make that pit stop, and next thing you know, you're behind a slower car, and there's really no way around the slower car. You're screwed.
There's no way around them.
Interesting that Formula One, they start in Australia, and right away next weekend they're in China. They're racing in China. They did not get a break. Usually for an international flight that long, they give them a week off. But no, they're trying to, and it's a sprint race weekend, which I like.
Yeah,
because nothing's more exciting than watching free practice 3.
Who's sandbagging in this practice, right?
I mean, the only real practice that matters is free practice 1 is they're just going to see what the car can do. Free practice 2 is when they actually, this is what we're going to do in the race. Let's test it all out and everything like that. And then free practice 3 is like, okay, go out there and drive. Just don't kill yourself. You know, well, you have to go out there.
You have to wear out the tires. They're just scuffing tires at that point.
So this weekend we have 2 qualifying and 2 racing, which is, that's what fans want to see. That's what I want to see, you know.
Starts at 11:30 tonight.
Yeah, the first one.
Eastern Standard Time, if you're in Eastern U.S.
The main race on Sundays starts at 3 a.m. though, so that's what the DVR is for. On Saturday night. I like your Formula One, but not that much.
Not going to stay up all night for it. Although I might, because that's when I get off work. So
no. The one thing that pissed me off about last weekend was the 12 hours of Sebring went on, which I was pissed I didn't go. But then it was only on Peacock. And do you have Peacock?
I have Peacock, yes.
Oh, I don't have Peacock. I ticked off about that, and I was like, I know Daytona, the people in NASCAR, they own IMSA, they do all this stuff. And once they took over everything, they took over the track at Sebring too. They're based out of Daytona. They want to promote the Daytona track, but it's like they're treating Sebring like we really don't want it to be that big. You know, we're gonna promote the crap by Daytona, and Sebring's kind of like Daytona was on national TV. the 24-hour, all that stuff. But Sebring, they just kind of ignore. And as far as I'm concerned, Sebring is the best race of the year of any on the probably at least the United States, if not the planet.
The oldest one too, right?
It's been around for a while, but not the oldest. Indy's way by far the oldest, or Le Mans. But we've been up there, and the best part about the 12-hour Sebring is going like the week after Sebring. And remember, we've done that. We went there for testing for some stuff.
Yeah, you can go there and get new furniture for your house and everything. They have complete living rooms set up out in the paddock and in the what do they call it, the
midway.
Midway, yeah. Just like entire, with refrigerators and just everything. And it's usually all been charred because they set it on fire before they leave.
Of course, condoms, super cheap, lightly used.
Lightly used at a discount, right?
My favorite one is they stick a fleshlight to the pole and go public with a sign saying "public fleshlight." Seriously, if you haven't been to the 12 hours of Sebring, go. If you have a daughter and you say she says she's going to the 12 hours of Sebring,
don't let her.
No, don't let her. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
It's like Mardi Gras for race car drivers.
Exactly. So what else? Oh, NASCAR's in town.
Yes.
And Homestead.
They were in Las Vegas last weekend.
Yeah. So
a very popular win of Josh Berry winning his first race with the help of Penske. Gave him all the setups, and their cars are made in the Penske shops, even though they're not officially a Penske car.
Mm-hmm.
And he did a great job. It was a very popular win, and it was a good race. I enjoyed the race. I enjoyed the whole racing weekend last weekend, but this weekend is going to be a big weekend because we have all three. We have the NASCAR, the Formula One, and the Indycars. And this weekend, of course, is Homestead Miami Speedway.
Yeah.
Now, I just came from the Speedway about an hour ago.
How's it look out there?
And Homestead Miami Speedway is entirely engulfed in smoke from the wildfires that are going on down on the just south of the Speedway on the road to the Keys. They've shut down US 1 going to the Keys. They've shut down Card Sound Road. Traffic is a nightmare.
Imagine.
And I was just out at the Speedway, and it is literally, if you're more than a half a mile away from the Speedway, you can't see it because it is engulfed in smoke. So I don't know what their plan is. I'm hoping that it will clear up, but right now, as we're recording this podcast, it's completely engulfed in smoke. I've never seen it like that before.
And they start up tomorrow's Friday. They start up.
Yeah, they got a truck race tomorrow night.
That fire south of the Speedway, it was bad and everything, but the Speedway was clear. But now the winds have shifted. Now it's out of the south, so all that smoke is coming up.
It hasn't hit my house yet, but it's close.
I've gone outside of my house, and I live like 25 minutes, half hour north of the track, and I can smell it. I get some whiffs of it too, and it's going to get worse and worse. And this is a huge forest fire. We haven't had any rain. We have low humidity. No rain's coming. There's no rain in the forecast whatsoever. I wonder.
Well, they're dumping water on it, but it's basically just a grass fire. It's not really a forest fire.
It's mostly grass, but it's muck, and it's vegetation. It's like decayed, dried vegetation, like peat moss, like 5-6 feet deep. And so you see, it's like a little. Oh, look at that little fire! It looks cute, but then it's just pouring out smoke. And it's
the flames aren't real big or anything. It's just pouring out tons of smoke.
Yeah, and the fire is below the surface. A lot of it too. It's just I've seen it where they put out the fire and it just on top and it looks okay, everything's fine, and the smoke keeps on pouring out because it's just all that
It'll
underneath.
make the smoke worse at that point.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, and Florida is not a state that has a lot of major forest fires. You know, we have them out in the Everglades, but that's natural. We're supposed to have them, and so a forest fire like this is Florida's not prepared.
Well, it is basically an Everglades
Yeah,
fire,
yeah,
because it's just all swampland, just like the Everglades, So
yeah.
it's basically an Everglades fire. And, once it burns, then there's nothing left to burn and it moves on or goes out, So I'm hoping by tomorrow we'll get a wind shift or something and then the speedway will clear up
And
because I don't want to breathe the smoke.
the smoke's heading north. If the fire starts heading north, that grassland, that swamp, that prairie, whatever you want to call it, it literally borders up against the speedway, the parking lot.
Oh, yeah.
You go to the parking lot, there's a fence, and then the Everglades start right
Yeah,
there.
turn keys 3 and 4 is literally like 50 yards away.
Yeah.
So
It'll be interesting to see what the speedway says, what they're going to do.
well, they've said so far that everything is going on as planned.
Right.
Is what the official word is.
Yeah. Well,
But that was yesterday.
The speedway itself is not in danger. That's not going to burn down or nothing.
But the fans, you don't want to go in there and breathe all that smoke. That is just, that's a health hazard right there.
Yeah.
You're not in danger of burning, but you are in danger of coughing to death, choking.
Yeah. For the drivers and crew, it's not so bad because they breathe all that crap all day out there.
Yeah, they breathe in all that brake dust, which is like
rubber and all that crap. Yeah, but it's gonna be
asbestos. They get a big shot of asbestos every pit stop.
It's. I hope they don't have to cancel because Homestead. I know it's our local track, but it's usually a interesting race because you really have to drive that track.
The drivers love it.
Yeah,
and this is the weekend where I think that we're going to see the reemergence of Kyle Larson.
Yeah,
this is Kyle Larson's kind of track right here. This is one of those rim riding, right up against the wall kind of tracks, and that's Kyle Larson right there. This track was built for him. So I think this is the week that we're going to see Kyle Larson. I think he's going to win it. That's my prediction right now, Kyle Larson.
I like Homestead because, like you said, like for someone like Kyle Larson, he can go right along the edge up there against the wall. But then you also have some other guy who you'd be like down on the apron, almost just as fast, like and it's for a mile and a half track to have so many lanes and so many ways to do it.
Yeah, and the drivers love it. I mean, every driver you interview they just love the track. They love racing it. They love South Florida. Even though maybe South Florida doesn't love them, but they love it, and because they come down, they'll go down and, go snorkeling on the Keys or something, the day after they'll hang around and take a little vacation time, especially when it was the last race of the season, and the rest of the country was cold. They would just head down to Key West or somewhere and, stay for a week, before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. The sponsors loved it too because they got to come down and everything. Now, it's going to be
now we'll see, because now it's no longer not even in the chase. It's not in the playoffs. It's one of these early season races and we just don't attract a lot of NASCAR fans here in Miami as far as the local fans.
Right.
They're more of a Formula One type crowd, international type crowd. They like soccer, or should I call it football? They like Formula One. They like all the things that are international. Whereas NASCAR is good old boy Southern.
Yeah, it's also, look, I'll be honest, that track is far. Even for people in Miami, you say Homestead, it's in the same county, but Miami-Dade County is one of the largest counties in the country. And if you're in Miami, you say Homestead, people roll their eyes. They're not going to drive all the way down there. Who goes down to Homestead? And if you look at a map of Florida, it's way down.
Yeah.
It's way down south. There's nothing else. It's
it's definitely the foreskin of the state.
Yeah. People like they go to Daytona, And it's like, okay, Daytona's in Florida too, but yeah, but Homestead's another 4.5 hours past Daytona.
Like 6 hours, really.
Yeah,
6 hours.
especially those guys. They get a good crowd. They have been selling out. I don't know. Last year, did they sell out? I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I think they sold out last year, but they were still in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
This is the first year where we're into March. And I actually like the March race because it doesn't interfere with my football schedule in November or October or somewhere when
Wait,
usually
wait,
there's a
wait.
conflict with me because I have season tickets to the Miami Dolphins. So there's a conflict.
Okay, I was checking if it was football or football.
No, this is football. The other stuff is football. Foot.
Don't lie. You have a set of Lionel Messi pajamas you sleep in every
Oh yeah,
night.
number 10.
And they're pink.
I am a Messi fan. I will admit I am a fan of the Messi.
Anyway,
Anyway, so now
they're
IndyCar is going to some private little club
thermal club, and
that
they're
nobody's allowed to go to.
they're so excited that they put in stands that's going to hold 5,000 people, and they're so excited they've almost sold out. But people go, oh, but it's $475 a ticket, and I go, yeah. And Miami Grand Prix, the cheapest ticket is $650, and they sell 275,000 of those for the weekend. you know, um, IndyCar, I got to stop bashing them because it's getting too
It's too easy.
to bash them now. You know,
It's like low hanging fruit. It's just too easy.
exactly. I mean, they got their first race of the season. They got a 1.4 on Fox on national TV, and they're all screaming, "Oh, this is great! Look at this great rating and everything." And I go, "Yeah, okay, but Formula One got a 1.1 million at midnight on cable."
Yeah, IndyCar though they got national television now, so and then they usually have like a NASCAR lead-in,
Yeah,
or
I think they're going to be a NASCAR. Yeah, they lead into NASCAR. NASCAR, they're not going to be helping NASCAR. NASCAR's not going to be helping them. They're going to be helping NASCAR.
well, maybe this week. Where is the IndyCar race? I know it's in a private club, but
Thermal
it's
Club. It's
like,
out in California, in the desert.
yeah.
California.
So they'll have a NASCAR lead-in this week,
Yeah, yeah. Is the
so that
NASCAR
might help them.
isn't the rest car race? It's in the evening, right? I don't know what time
I
it
think
starts.
it starts around 3.
Oh, 3. All right. Oh, if it happens with the fires, we'll see. Uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, they're IndyCar and they keep on talking about a new car in two. Now they swear it'll be there in 2027. I'm taking bets that it won't.
I just don't understand why it would take. Formula One comes out with a new car or at least new setups and everything every year.
Sure.
But IndyCar takes 5 years to come out with a new car.
5 years.
It's probably not going to be any better than the old car.
They've been racing this car now for 12 years. The same chassis. Um, I don't know. Now Chip Ganassi, some of the drivers say, "Well, we're just not going to change for the sake of changing. People don't care." And I go, "Some do."
Well, here's some good news: they announced the Formula E is coming to Homestead Miami Speedway.
Right, next month. I got to see if we can get
April. I think April 12th, I believe it is.
Yeah, I got to see if I can get credentials for that. See what we can.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. We definitely need to go out to that one. And guess what? You don't have to bring your earplugs or your hearing protection or anything. They sound like a swarm of bees.
Yeah. It'll be. I want to check it out. They've gotten a lot faster. I've been watching some of the races on TV. It looks like fun now. And when it first started out, it was pretty lame. It was like they were so slow, and they had to like pull in and change cars because the batteries wouldn't last or anything. Now the cars they're really light. They have like close to 400 horsepower, and they're like half the weight of a Formula One car. They're pretty fast.
Yeah,
Zero to
and the
60,
batteries last longer now. They've
yeah, they
come a
last
long
the
way
whole
with the
race.
battery technology.
Yeah, they last the whole race, and 0 to 60, they are even faster than a Formula One car. After that, they kind of, you know, you got to.
Yeah, well, that's the way all electric cars are. You know, the out of the hole they've got torque.
Yeah,
The whole thing with electric cars is torque. From 0 to 60, they'll race a top fuel dragster. You know, I mean,
yeah.
like a Tesla.
Right.
Well, is like I got that ludicrous speed. You
Yeah.
know, just
A,
crazy acceleration.
a Tesla with ludicrous speed will blow anybody out of the road. But once you get like around 100 miles an hour, my Rav4 can beat them.
Yeah,
You know,
it loses. Well, it doesn't have horsepower. It has torque.
yeah.
That's the difference between horsepower and torque.
Mhm.
Torque is out of the hole. You know, stop, standing, start. You know, 0 to 60, 0 to 70. That's all torque.
Yeah.
But once you get up above 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, then that's all horsepower at that point. And they just don't have the horsepower. So those electric motors, you know, they have all torque and no horsepower, which is fine
Which is fine for
because
the average driver. Yeah, it's more than enough.
you're not going to be going faster than 70 or 80 miles an hour down the highway anyway. You shouldn't be anyway.
This is Florida, where speed limits
Yeah.
are your suggestion.
This is Miami where, yeah, stop signs and red lights are just a suggestion, you know.
Well, I'm born and raised in Miami, and I'm still trying to figure out why they have that thing. I know you have the flashing lights when you pull up the side of the road. You have the hazard lights when you break down, but I don't know why I have that stick where I can only put the hazard lights on one side and not the other, and then put it on the other side. Those blinking lights. What are they for?
You're a Miami driver, so you don't know.
Okay. With that, we're going to end the show because I don't know. I'm going to get some really bad letters on that one. Hit like, hit subscribe, give us some love, ask us any questions we want. We'll be back with you again. This is Jeff Brown over here. I'm Tony Castner, Big Anthony, whatever you want to call me. We'll see you next week on OversteerTV, the podcast.
If we survive the fires.
If will we? I don't know. There we go. I always picked the wrong